Okay, good morning and welcome to Yevamos, Daf It, number 14. We have a tremendously important share for you today, and it's gonna cause you a lot of anguish, maybe get anger, make a lot of people angry, people upset. But I'm telling you the honest truth. This is what comes out from the Daf, truth from the Daf. And we have big problems in Klal Yisrael today. Big problems. And it's an Isser D'Oraisa, both according to Abaye and according to Rava, in the Gemara on Daf Yud Gimel and Yud over here in Maseches Yevamos. There is no way out of this. And in Iyot Ben Sugan, I will clarify exactly what the parameters of these halachas are. But even in the regular Daf, I'm going to talk about this and talk about examples, and it's really lamaisa. This is the most lamaisa Gemara you're gonna hear ever, and it's a shame that no one talks about this. And I was just talking to my friend David over here. He's sitting over here. He can come if he wants. I told him he should be like Nasan Hanavi. Who backs him up? Nasan Hanavi. Batsheva starts speaking, and Nasan Hanavi comes and backs her up. I'm hoping. He told me a story yesterday. Someone said about Rav Chaim Kanievsky. He said, "Who know Brisker? He's not a Brisker. I'm a Brisker. Brisker lomdim be'iyun, and they learn in depth. Rav Chaim mad bekiyus. Who you have Brisker? What's a Brisker? What's a Brisker? What's a Haredi? What's a Hasidi? What's Litai? What is Sfardi? What is Dati Leumi? What is Reform? What's Conservative? These are all Jews. We're all Yudim. We're one." David told me, I'm not any of the following. I'm just a Jew, and that's who I am also. I'm just a Jew. I'm just a simple Yid. I'm a regular person. We don't have to put ourselves in boxes. And come, sit here. David, come. He's shy. David is saying, we say it in Berachas HaShachar, Shelo Asani Goy. We don't say, Sha'asa li Chasidi, Sha'asa li Charedi, Sha'asa li Dati Leumi, Modern Orthodox. It is complete sheker, these boxes that we've put ourselves into. And not only is it sheker, but it's an Isser Midoraisa, both according to Abaye and according to Rava, both according to Rashi and according to the Rambam. And I'm going to show it to you very simply, and it's very clear from the Gemara, and I am shocked. I'm telling you, I am 100% shocked that it continues to go on this way in the Jewish world, and we're violating every day, Isurum D'Oraisa, of Losis Godu. It's a clear Gemara, the Gimel Beis, and it's explaining Yadal Amid Aleph. Losis Godu, Losasu Agudos. We are in clear violation, all of Klal Yisrael, every day. Every day that this goes on, we are violating it as a Sibor. We are violating an Isser D'Oraisa. Every segment of Klal Yisrael. It is a big, and David says, I'm Mashiach for saying this, because listen, I want to bring Shalom to Klal Yisrael. If we want to have Shalom in Klal Yisrael, we have to follow this halacha. This is the first and foremost halacha that you have to follow in order to ensure Shalom in Klal Yisrael. Let's get rid of these barriers. Let's get rid of these boxes that we force each other to be in. We have to be dressed a certain way. We have to act a certain way. We have to say certain things. No. You're allowed to have opinions. You're allowed to be your own person. You can be your personality. Your personality shouldn't be hinged on whether you dress like a Haredi or a Hasidi or a modern Orthodox. This is not important, the way you dress, what the opinions that you have. You're a Jew because you believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you believe in the Torah and the emes of the Torah. And the Torah tells you not to have agudos, and that's talking about halacha and hashkafa, especially halacha, and we're going to get into this. This is going to be a riveting shir. An uproar will be created by this shir. I hope people spread the word of this shir, because both in the regular Daf Yomi shir and the Imam Ben Sion, we're going to get into this, and it's going to be fire today. Aish, fire. David is giving me a thumbs up. He likes how I said it. All right, let's get into the Daf. Again, yesterday we were talking about the problem. The Gemara says, agudos, you can't make agudos with Klal Yisrael. Rashi says, it's near in Kishtei Toros, you look like you're keeping two Torahs. So the Gemara asks for our Mishnah. Last line you give on the base, the Gemara says, Beit Shammai would allow the sorrows. They argue, Beit Shammai, on the first Mishnah. Thank you, David. Give me a kiss. All right, blew me a kiss. Beis Shammai matir nazaros la'achim v'yisil osrim. Beis Shammai didn't hold the first Mishnah. They held that the Saros were still had Zika. They're not Pater min Ayibum and Chalitza. Beis Ostrim says they are Pater min Chalitza and Ayibum, and therefore, if the Achim were to take them, they'd be over Kares, they Shasach. So the Gemara says, Misavris, when you do Dalam and Aleph, Misavris, Asu Beis Shammai Kidivareyim. You think Beis Shammai Paskin the Psak, but they actually, the constituents of Beis Shammai, their followers, Lo Asu, they didn't do it. Lo Asu Beis Shammai Kidivareyim. They didn't end up doing it. They gave up Psak Allah. In theory, they said this is probably the right way, but Lamaisa, there were no Beis Hillel, and it would be Kares if if one of the brothers married the Sarah. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Asu. He says they actually follow their psak. Asu v'asu. Pluksa, the Rav Shmuel. Same machlokes Rav Shmuel. The Rav Amar lo asu Beis Shammai k'divrayim. Rav says Beis Shammai didn't do it like divrayim.
Okay, good. Have a great day.
My Shmuel's here.
Hello.
Shmuel, this is going to be an iconic shir today. We're getting into Losis Godedu. Losis to Agudos. Should make factions in Klal Yisrael.
That's good.
I am lighting a fire in Klal Yisrael today. A good fire, a fire that breaks apart the pirud, the factionalism, the separation having Klal Yisrael, all these different groups. It's an Isra Minat Torah, the way Judaism is practiced today. Right, it's the Isra Minat Torah, right?
That's right.
Even Shmuel, and you know what? You know what David said about you is obviously David, my friend. He said we all have to be like Shmuel.
Yeah.
Shmuel is you're a Jew. You're not a specific type of Jew. You're a Jew. You love all Jews, whether you're a Jew or not. You love all Jews.
That's right.
You're not a Haredi. You're not a Hasiди. You're not Datilum. You're not
I'm
Orthodox.
wishy-washy. That's basically
exactly. You
like Charlie Brown.
You bend.
Charlie Brown Judaism, right?
I don't know what Charlie Brown Judaism has to do with this. I know he's a character from a cartoon. All right, but
wishy-washy, like me.
Yeah, exactly. Shmuel, you have to be flexible.
That's right, flexible. Exactly.
I don't know if that you intend to do it on purpose, but because you have such a laid-back personality, you're able to accept other people, and you don't have to be in a box. We're gonna get rid of these boxes. It's terrible.
That's right.
It's an Isser Minat Torah.
All these labels.
Yes, the labels.
That's right.
All right. Go get me a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Label, all right?
Okay, take care.
All right.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you. The Rav Amar Lo Asu Beis Shammai. The Rav says they didn't follow. The Shmuel Amar Asu. Asu, they did, and they did. Amos. The Rav says, what are we talking? If this Machlok Rav and Shmuel, whether they did or not, was before the Baskel. Baskel came down and said, Allah, even though Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are both Divrei Elokim Chayim, the halacha follows Beis Hillel. My time with the Mandam are Lo. So if it was before the Baskel, so why didn't Beis Shammai follow through with what they held? El Achar Baskel was after the Baskel. My time with the Mandam are so what's the Mandam who says they did? How can they not listen to the Baskel? Versus Ibai Yisayim Makodam Baskel. If you'll say Malchus Rav and Shmuel before the Baskel, Ibai Yisayim El Achar Baskel. You could say either way. Ibai Yisayim Makodam Baskel going to Beis Hillel Ruba. Beis Hillel had more people that followed them, and more people in their based in. So therefore, the Beis Shammai didn't do it because they were the miyut, and the miyut you go basarov. So the mandam lo asu, and the mandam says didn't do. The Beis Hillel ruba mandam asu ki azin basruba heicha dechi adadin. And when we go after rov, it's when they're equal. Hacha Beis Shammai mechadid itfei. Even though Beis Shammai was the miyut, they had less people in Beis Shammai, but they were sharper. They had sharper minds. They're more ma'ayin, so therefore we follow them, or it's at least shakal, and they were able to follow what they gave the psak. If I say malachar baskel, if you want to tell me we're talking about after the baskel, manam lo asu da after baskel. What is it? Beis Shammai didn't follow through because the baskel said the law is like Beis Hillel. Manam also Rabbi Yeshua. It goes according to Rabbi Yeshua. Damar emashkichem baskel. We don't pay attention to a baskel for halachic matters. Baskel might be relevant for hashkafic matters, but not halachic matters. And whereas mandam asu Korean Khan. So the Gemara finishes its question. According to the mandam Amar Rabbi Yochanan and Shmuel asu that they did, Korean Khan lo says go to do. Lo sa'asu agudos. Torah says, you can't make factions in Klal Yisrael. You can't have some people passing Beis Shammai, some people passing Beis Hillel. Amar Abaye, Kamrina, let's go to Gonshei Bati Din and be Arachas. Halal Moran Kedir Beis Shammai, Halal Moran Kedir Beis Hillel. Abaye says the easy way out is like this: is that when it's Los go do when you have one city, let's say Yerushalayim, and you have two Bati Dinim, you have the Eida Charedis, and you have Reuben Hachshar, right? Two Batei Dinim. They're both in Yerushalayim. Halal Morgan Rabbi Shem, Halal Morgan Rabbi Yisrael. They give their psah. This one says this is kosher, and this one says no, only this is kosher. That's those is go to do. But if they're in two different cities, like Landau is like Bnei Brak, and Reuben is in Yerushalayim, so then there would be no problem of Landau saying this is kosher and this is not kosher, and Reuben saying this is kosher but this is not kosher. That wouldn't be a problem. That's according to Abaye. Amalei Rava, V'Abai Shammai Hillel Kishtei Bati Dinim Yerachas Dami. Shammai Hillel wasn't just Shammai and Hillel; it was the followers of Shammai and Hillel, and they presumably lived in the same city. So it's going to be people following Beit Shammai and Hillel in the same city. So then where it says El Amarava Ki Amrina, let's go to based in Yerachas. Plag Mark Divrei Beit Shammai, Plag Mark Divrei Hillel. The problem is in one city. In one Basin, let's say all in the Eidach HaReidus Basin in Yerushalayim, some people, some of the Rabbanim on the Basin, paskening one way, and some paskening another way. Now, obviously, a Basin is going to come out with an official ruling of the Basin. What the Gemara means to say is that the Rabbanim, even though the Rabbanim on the Basin or the Rabbanim in the town, would agree with the official psak, the public psak, but in private, they some Rabbanim give a different psak from the actual Basin or from the accepted halacha in that city. And that, according to Rava, even according to Rava, would be a problem. But he says there's no potential problem of two batidinim mirachas leislan ba. There's no problem. So it seems that Rava would hold that it would be okay to have Eidach HaReidus and Reuben giving different public hechsherim, or the Mahadrin Yerushalayim, or the Rabbanut against Eidach HaReidus, Rabbanut against Eidach HaReidus. That wouldn't be a problem according to Rava. You're going to see halacha, even it's not really accepted like Rava. The Rambam, it's not really accepted like Rava. Rava would be applicable also. We're going to see in Yehud Ben Sion how we really hold like both Abaye and Rava, and they're talking about two different cases, two different ways of arguing, of having argument in halacha. One explanation, Abaye is going to be going according to the explanation of the Rambam. That's why the Rambam passes like Abaye. And Rashi's explanation of Los Godedu, Los Agudas Agudas, Niran Kishtei Toros would be even applicable in Rava. So it could be we pass both like Abaye and both like Rava. Even though Rava himself really didn't pass like Abaye. He says what Abaye says is mutter, but it could be the halacha. We pass both Abaye and Rava. Below Pligi, they're talking about two different scenarios. That will be the Yevamos to demonstrate that. Anyway, it's official. The Rambam paskins like Abaye over here. So for sure, if you have the Rabbanut arguing on Eidach HaReidus, it is a problem. That is a problem. We're not even talking about political parties. We're talking about two different hechsherim. Now in America, a lot of places, I know in Queens or the 5 towns, they have the Vod of Queens or the Vod of the 5 towns, or in Lakewood, maybe the Vod of the Lakewood. The city has come together and they've made a uniform decision. This is to avoid a problem in Israel Rice, so this is go to do, which is, I'm sorry to say, I'm not a rabbi, but it's pretty clear that in Yerushalayim, which is the center of the Rabbanut, or Rabbanut Mahadrin, or Rabbi Reuben from Harnof, I think it's from Harnof. I don't know where is Rabbi Reuben from. Maybe it's from Bnei Brak. Okay, so let's say he's from Bnei Brak. So by Reuben and Landau's. There's different hechsherim. There's other hechsherim besides these. There's Agudas Yisrael. There's Machbud. There's tons of hechsherim here in Israel. In America, it's more uniform. But even in America, you have the OU, you have the OK. Different hechsherim giving different psakim. I mean, this is a problem with the rice of Los go to do. We heard it here first. I don't know why you have to hear it here first. I'm not a rabbi. I'm not the Gadol Hador, but I mean, according to David, I'm a Shia. But it's really a problem. It's a problem with the Raisa, and it extends. Obviously, the point of this halacha is not just the halacha. It's the Rambam says it makes machlokas in Klal Yisrael, and you see how much machlokas and pirud and agudos, different groups. Agudos are different factions, different groups of people. You have Charedim, you have Hasidim, you have Ashkenazim, you have Yekim, you have Sfardim, you have Dati Leumi, you have Modern Orthodox, you have Reform, Conservative, Open Orthodox. You have so many different factions in Klal Yisrael, You cannot tell me that is not this Isser is being violated every single day in Klal Yisrael until something is done about it. We're going to remove all these labels. It is being violated every single day in Klal Yisrael. I'm really sorry to say that, but it's really the truth. And maybe it's because people who are learning Yevamos are not learning La Halacha. When you're learning Halacha, you're learning Masechah Shabbos, you're not learning Yevamos. But this happens in Masechah Yevamos. There's no way around it. This is a big problem. All right, let's continue. Where it says Tashma, trying to decide this, whether they did it or not. Shama followed through or not. You curse the Eitzim Lasos Pcham b'Shabbos. This is from Gemara Masechah Shabbos. It says even on Shabbos you're allowed to do a meal on Shabbos, right? The Torah says B'Yom HaShmini you're allowed to do a meal on Shabbos. They would be curse Eitzim. You're allowed to actually cut down wood, which is a malacha d'oraisa, in order to have coals, the wood into coals, in order to make iron, to make a milah knife. The Gemara explains they used to eat chicken with milk. Only in Rebbe Lezer's place they used to do this machshirei milah, right, on Shabbos. Rakiva didn't do this. On the column of Rakiva, Shabbos, you could have done Erev Shabbos. You could have made the milah knife Erev Shabbos, not Docha Shabbos. The machshirei milah, not Docha Shabbos. Could have done it yesterday. What's the question? Everyone agrees, even Abaye agrees. If it's two different places, it's okay. What's the Havamina if they ask the question? Shabbos is very chomer. It's like even two places, like consider one place, people are going to know about it. Whereas Pashmalan, we're not worried. Tashma, the Riyao came to the place. Rishon ben Levi was the rabbi. He would carry a lamp. I don't know. He would light a candle. I don't know. He'd move the lamp. Maybe muksa. He wouldn't move the lamp. He wouldn't move the candle. Behind my kusha, what's the problem? We just said that in two different places you can do different halachas. The Gemara says, I don't hakim. We're asking a different question, not really about los go to. How could he pass in two different ways? In one place he's mach, one place he's mekel. He really held like Shlomo ben Levi that you could do it. It's not considered muksab. The Asr, the Rabbi Yochanan, he was machmer in Rabbi Yochanan's place. Rabbi Yochanan Asr. If you want to show cover to Rabbi Yochanan, deference to Rabbi Yochanan, so people shouldn't mizalz on Rabbi Yochanan, so therefore he was machmer. Vayika Shama. What about his attendant? His attendant saw him being mekel in the place where Yeshua Levi. He's going to be mekel in the place of Rabbi Yochanan. Where it says the model of the Shama, he tells his Shama that in Rabbi Yochanan we have to be careful and be machmer. Tashma. Right, the Mishnah says even though there was a machlokes about this, they would marry. They would intermarry. If he'll say that really Beisharik Paskin that the Saros Amrutarstach, so then that's why. So if you say that they didn't do that, they didn't follow through with that, because practically there was no halakha nafkamina. Everyone followed Beisil. Yamari also, if they actually did like their psak, Amalo Nimnu, but Shalom Beishama be Misil Lo Nimnu Bnei Lavin. The reason Beishama didn't mind marrying ladies from Beisil was according to Beisil. Right, Beis has there's no Zika anymore. So therefore, the only Isser involved over here, according to Beis Shammai, is that Beis Shammai would hold there is Zika over here, and there's an Isser for the Achim. There's no Kares. There's no Isser for the Achim to marry, according to Beis Shammai. But there is an Isser for Hachutza, Yevamos Lachutz, to marry someone who's not one of the brothers. That's an Isser Lav. So even if there's a lav doesn't make a mamzer. So therefore, when the descendants of one of these unions over here, there was chayv lav and it's only chayv lav, and nothing to worry about mamzer. And Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai, Amaylo Nimdu. Why wouldn't Beis Hillel be careful not to marry ladies from Beis Shammai? According to Beis Shammai, right? Lefi Beis Shammai, he says that the achan are mutars of the saras. According to Beis Hillel, that's kares, that's eishasach. And the descendants are mamzerim. Maybe he'll tell me it has to be more. In order to create a mamzer, it has to be more than chayvei krisos. Amar Elazar, Av Beishanech Beishamai Yisrael Basaros Modim Shein Mamzer Mishi Yisrael Yisrael Erba Anish Karis. You see, Basil agrees that right, Karis would make a mamzer. Lo Shmamina, lo also must be they didn't do. The Mar says lo olam also really they did. The Modilu Parshi, they did maybe create mamzerim. Beishamai's psach would create mamzerim if he Beis Hillel, but Beishamai was careful not to say, oh, this is a case where they married the Achim and they did for you, it's going to be a mamzer, so stay away from this family. So there was no problem. How can I mistabra? That makes sense. They did tell him the Ksani Seva called Taras called Tmeo. Show you Elu Matarin, Elu Matam, Linu Osum Taros Elu Agabe Elu. A second thing that Beisham Yisrael did, they would use things that according to one of them was Tameh, according to the other one was Tor. They wouldn't whatever one paskin was Tameh. And one paskin was Torah, they would use other people's utensils. Smart Yevamos just talking about the modil who they told each other, according to you, this is Tameh. According to us, it's Torah. According to you, it's Tameh. So that's why they didn't stop using each other's utensils. The modil, if they didn't tell them, apparently Beis Shammai was more makel, so therefore even if it's Tommy according to Beis Hillel, so they didn't Beis Shammai had no problem using things of Beis Hillel, but according to Beis Shammai, they're more makel. It's Tor. El Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai la'amalon imnu. Taro is Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel it's meos imnu. According to Beis Shammai, they're more makel. Certain things are Tor. According to Beis Hillel, they're Tomei. How could they use it? Right? There's problems with eating truma betuma, according to Beis Shammai betuma. El lav the modilhu must be they told him, right? The fact is that it really was Tomei according to Beis Hillel, but Beis Shammai told them. Shema Minas, you see that they told him. Why is it more apparent from the second case they told him? Oh, the same as Sarah Kala is like the case of Saros, they didn't tell him. It's just that it's public knowledge when, according to one opinion, it's called Mamzerim. So Kamash Malan, no, they did tell him. Kufa, Amar Elezer, Av Bishanechu Beishamai, Beisel Besaros Modim Shein Mamzal Mishi Yisrael Yisrael Erev Yinash Karis. Man Modim. Who's the one who admits that it's mamzerim for chive krisus? Ilam Beis Hillel Beis Shammai Beis Hillel Beis Shammai is moded to Beis Hillel pshita. Bnei chayav elav and ksherin. The way this phrase goes is that it says everyone agrees that there's no mamzerim unless it's kares. Sounds like what? We're not dealing with kares over here. Beis Shammai is moded Beis Hillel because according to Beis Shammai, even if you follow like Beis Hillel, the most it creates is chayve elav, and according to Beis Shammai, there is a zika, so there's only a lav. Let's say ish meish chutza lishzar. So the ksherim, there's no one who says lavin. We'll see there is in Rabbi Kiva, but most opinions don't say lavin. Chayve lavin, Israel chayve lavin create mamzerim. Ella Beis Hillel Beis Shammai he gufa chayve krisasi. What are they saying? Only the mamzerim only make chayve krisas. It is chayve krisas according to you, because if they marry the achim, the brothers marry the Saros. It creates it Israel Aisha's ach. It's kares. The Olam Beis Shammai, the Beis Hillel, really it's Beis Shammai. We're saying Beis Shammai is more than Beis Hillel. Fukki with Rabbi Akiva to say like Rabbi Akiva, the Amar Yesh Mamzer B'Chayv Lavin, Kamash M'Lein Mamzer B'Chayv Lavin. Beis Shammai is saying, according to you, Beis Hillel, even though you're going to create for us the situation of Chayv Lavin, it's still not going to be a Mamzer because we don't pass to Rabbi Akiva, who says there's even a Mamzer from a violation, forbidden union of Chayv Lavin. Tashma. Avish Niklu Beis Shammai Beis Hillel B'Tzaros V'Achayos. They have Machlokas, the Saros U'Ba'Achayos. And the sisters, the get Yashan or the Safik Eishes Ish. All these cases are different cases that Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel Machlokas about. Again, Beis Shammai is making in most of these cases. Interesting. Usually Beis Shammai is Machmer. Saros is the case of our Mishnah we're just talking about. But Achayos is talking about a case of the Mishnah Daf Chavav in this Masechta. We're talking about Achos to Kukoso, right? 4 brothers, 2 are married to 2 sisters. Both of the brothers who are married to sisters die. So now you have 2 women who are 2 sisters that both of them have a zika. Achos to Kukoso, you have to do chalitza midrabanan. That's the halacha. What happens if b'di'eved, one of the achim, the remaining brother, did yibum? So in the right, it's a valid yibum, but it's achos to Kukoso. Do we have to make them a garish? You have to get the divorce. So according to Beis Shammai, no. According to Hillel, yes. But get Yashan is a case where you write a get, you didn't give it to the woman, and then you went and they secluded themselves together, they went to a hotel room together. Do we say that they're okay the get or not? Beis Shammai says you could use the get. Beis Hillel says no. V'safek eishes ish. This, according to the first pshat in Rashi, is talking about mima enes what are the rights of Ma'anis, a woman who gets married from her mother or brother or father died. She has the ability to Mamayan as a Ktana, gets married as a Ktana, and then when she grows a Gedola, so she can Mamayan, she can refuse the marriage, uproot the marriage, never get it started, because she do that when she falls to Yibum, because she do that after Nisuin. There's a lot of cases of Shammai's Mekel and Beisilel is Machmi or Megarish is Ishto Volana Yimov Pundak. Let's say he gives a get to his wife, and then that night he goes into a hotel room with her. Do we assume that they were Makadi? It was this going into they made it up. They had makeup sex. they made up and they're a Boel l'shem kiddushin to a new marriage. Then they get after the hotel room. Beis Shammai says no. Beis Hillel says yes. B'kesev v'shav v'kesev pruta v'shav pruta. This is a machlokes in the first Mishnah. In kiddushin, what affects a kiddushin? Right? Do you need a dinar? Shav v'kesev is a dinar. A dinar is a coin in a lot of countries, a lot of Arab countries. They use a dinar. The most valuable coin in the world currency in the world is the Kuwaiti dinar. It's worth about $3 more than the British pound. It's the most expensive currency in the world. Dinar, according to Beis Shammai, you need an expensive coin to affect the kiddushin. According to Beis Hillel, even a shava pruta, even a pruta or a shava pruta, anything worth a shava pruta, right? So it's easier to get married according to Beis Hillel, not according to Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai, we don't have to worry about marriages unless it's a dinar. Lenu Beis Shammai, Melissa, and Nashim Beis Hillel, below Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. They wouldn't, even though they had a lot of machlokas about ishos over here, creating marriages, when the person married or not married, they would marry each other. That they had a bond, a strong bond, a strong companionship between the two. They were truthful. They gave psaka psiske halacha that they believe were truthful. Still, they lived in shalom. Shimon says that they actually did refrain from marrying into them when there was a case of vadai, but not from safek. We're going to discuss what vadai and safek is. If you'll say, like that opinion, like Shmuel or Yochanan, they followed through with their psak halacha. That's why they're nimnu. If one of these cases of vadai is talking about, like the Saros, right? The Saros is the first case. Saros is a case in our Mishnah, what we've been talking about until now. So if you'll say that's a case of vadai, so if you'll say that's why they're nimnu, according to Rabbi Shimon. Why were they nimnu if it wasn't, they didn't do it? But this Gemara says it makes sense. And you'll say they did do it. Beis Hillel nimnu Beis Shammai. The Chayvei Krisos nimnu. Beis Hillel wouldn't want to marry for Beis Shammai because there could be the descendants can be mamzerim. Beis Shammai, my nimnu Beis Hillel, Bnei Chayvei Lavin nimnu. There's no mamzerim from Beis Shammai, from Beis Hillel. So Moshe said, here we're not talking about marrying the descendants of the Sarah, we're talking marry the Sarah herself, even though that's Chayvei Lavin. So therefore, when it's vadai, Beis Shammai would be nimna for marrying Beis Hillel because according to Beis Hillel, it would be Yevamos, and it would be according to Beis Shammai, it would be Yevamos, and there'll be a lav, and they want to marry a lav. Here also, when we're talking about the Sarah herself, so if we're saying it's the Sarah herself, so the suffix is also a suffix del Raisa l'chumra. Let's say he's saying suffix stam, meaning in a case where we don't know, meaning future generations where there's a case of sveka. That's why they're lo nimnu. The modi stam. So minastam the modi lu parsha, and the reason that they weren't concerned, even though there's a chash mamzeirim for Beis Hillel, if you follow like Beis Shammai, is because they, like we said before, they told them which family had mamzer in there. According to you, what's the significance of saying that there was peace and fondship between them? The cooler Rabbi Shimon, the end of the Braysta, which says Rabbi Shimon brings it just to say it adds it on. It's really the same thing. It's to say the whole Braysta is Rabbi Shimon. We should know the author of the Braysta is Rabbi Shimon. Okay, that'll be the end of today's shir. You heard what I have to say about Pirud and Machlokas and Klal Yisrael, and David is waving me on. He's getting fist pumps in the back over here. We're going to get to Iyam Ben Sion, where I'm going to delve into the depths of this halacha and exactly iron out what the specific details of these halachas should be nowadays. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Coming up now.